I'm really happy to see a lot of faces in the class, especially in the live classroom, because the last batch that we took, everything was online. And I think things were very difficult for the students as well as the faculty, because when you don't see a person's face, you really don't understand whether the concept is clear or not. Anyway, so first of all, I'm very happy to see all of you. And let me just introduce myself. Can you hear me? Yes. I'm Rajitha, and I'm here to handle your optional classes. The entire optional classes I'll only be handling for you. So UPSC has been pretty long journey for me. It's like I'm almost 18 years into this field, but into teaching, it's like almost 14 years. And UPSC teaching is kind of 9 to 10 years right now. And I started with taking classes with sociology as an optional. That's where I started taking classes for civil services, okay? So as and when we decide to take up the optional as such, then maybe I'll talk to you further about myself. Now let me not waste your time, okay? So some of you might have decided on sociology. Some of you might be having the confusion whether you should pick up the subject or not. So first I'll just tell you what is the plan. I'll keep you here for an hour maximum, not more than that. So today we'll be having an orientation, and in this orientation, I'll tell you what is the nature of the subject, what are the kind of things that you should get exposed to, and certain things which are required for the optional. And then we'll have a Q&A session wherein I'll just take up your questions and I'll try to give as much as possible my own opinions about it. And after that, we'll be starting regular classes from Monday. That is from 18th only, we'll be starting the classes, okay? So after today, you will have a week's break, time for you to decide. And those of you who have already taken the decision, I'll tell you what to do in this 1 week. And when we meet for classes, we'll be starting from Monday, okay? So fine. So first and foremost, sociology as a subject, some of us, we already have the exposure. Some of us, we really don't know anything about the subject. I was one such person. I did not know anything about humanities because entirely in school and all, I have only taken science subjects. So exposure to sociology is coming only with UPSC. So if that is your first doubt, I don't have any background in sociology, whether it will suit me, I am your category. After that, you kind of start developing love for this subject. That's how it is. It kind of motivates you. It kind of keeps you hooked. You kind of understand what's happening around you. The same thing which you viewed, you start viewing it from a very different perspective. So I'll just give you an example. Very recently, we were watching this movie, Vikram, which is a movie in Tamil. Obviously, it has come in multiple languages as well, thanks to OTT, right? So Hotstar has kind of released it on July 8th. So if you take this movie, there is something about the revival of a hero, isn't it? After a very long time, a person is getting a commercial break. There is something about gun violence, something which the US society has been dealing with. So when we see the movie as a movie, we kind of see the star, we kind of enjoy the movie, there's kind of entertainment in that. But then when you start understanding why exactly the movie is there, what do people love, why PUBG was banned, why people start internalizing all these values onto themselves, you kind of start getting a very different perspective as to what exactly is this topic that they're kind of dealing. What is this spying? How does a nation work with another nation? You start getting a lot of perspectives. So a simple movie, which you've only watched as an entertainment before, starts giving you new meanings. That's what the subject does to you. You start identifying, you start relating. Next, we'll take a small thing. You kind of call a person or you kind of text a person. The person doesn't reply to you. Normally it happens now, every 2 minutes we'll keep checking our phone. We've sent a message to a person. Why the person is not responding? Many a time, oh, is that person angry with me? Have I done something wrong? We kind of get a lot of questions. Sometimes only we say, oh, maybe that person was actually very busy. And so maybe the person was driving or riding. And so the person did not respond. We have so many meanings that we can get. But then first, what do we think? Maybe that person is very angry. That's why the person didn't respond. And then what we do? We keep calling the person again and again. Some of us, we do have that habit, right? But then sociology changes our perception about things. That a person can be doing multiple things, and because of that, you need not think bad about a person. You don't get to judge a person. You don't come up with good or bad. You don't come up with being a judge. You kind of look a person as it is. Okay, so these are the practical things that you get out of the subject. All right. So that's how it has changed me as a person from not having a background in sociology to developing some kind of a background. Now there will be some other people who have studied something from humanities right from school. For you, obviously, this is a cup of cake. You're already having that the way of looking into things. So maybe this is only going to be something like a reiteration. But then what is the difference is, when I do a UG or a PG or even a PhD in sociology, I do it for an academic work. But here we are doing it for a competitive exam. So the level is just BA honors level. So even if you start from now, 3 to 4 months into the subject, that much of reading is enough to clear the UPSC exam. So the way we'll be doing this preparation is not to get a PhD in sociology, but to clear the examination. Our objective will be very, very clear. So the conceptual understanding plus doing things on your own to deal with the examination, that's how we will be discussing. Okay. So let me go into what is there in the subject. So there are 2 papers. Each paper is for 250 marks. Paper 1 has 10 units and paper 2, it is divided into 3 portions. And each of these things are, some of the subjects are very different, some of it is very correlated. Okay. So this is what is the topic that you have, the 10 units that I told you. It is there in the optional paper 1. This is paper 1. Okay. So the first unit, it introduces you to the subject. The second unit is, it takes you one step ahead as to when the subject was actually developing, how to study the subject. Some people told us, because subjects like physics, chemistry, philosophy, they were all there before sociology. This subject came in only in 1839. After that only this came. So it's pretty young. So there have been so many things which have come up as inputs to create the subject. So how to do this subject? Third thing is, what are the ways that we study the subject in detail we will be going. Like for example, you would have recently come up across something in the paper called National Family Health Survey 5. No ma'am, now only newspaper only. I'm just opening and saying. Some of you, like today only I started class and you're telling something in the news. Okay, there is something called as census. We all know that. Every 10 years they are taking that. So they come to each and every house and they ask us all our details, and all the details is put into something and they analyze that. So what do? They get data from us and the data is kind of analyzed, put into some format. Now, what you do here, if you're going to do it for sociology, that is going to be third unit. That's all. Okay. So survey is a method that we are doing. That survey, if you do here, that is what is the third unit. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Fourth unit, you just get a little deeper. Here, there are some 6 people who've laid the foundation for sociology. Three of these people who are from Europe, 3 of these people who are from America. Because before it came to India, there were a lot of research work which happened in those countries. So we'll be introducing ourselves to those people, what they have said. But the lucky thing here is, if you only understand what they have told as the concept, it is enough. You don't need to put it exactly in their words and all that. So, for example, there is someone called as Karl Marx. Now, this Karl Marx has told something about capitalism, very good. Told something about class, told something about, something which is applied very recently. You would have heard about Naxalism, right? Even recently, there was a Telugu movie which was discussing about it. What is that? No, ma'am, we don't watch movies and all. They're discussing about the Red Corridor and all that. Naxal, how people become sympathizers to Naxal, right? So what is Naxalism based out of? It is based out of something which is like revolting against the ways and means of the state. So Karl Marx had written something about it. So it's like what you find today, what this guy had written 200 years back. All right. So like that, what does the thinker say? Is it practically applicable today or not? That's what you get out of this. This unit is very important because we get 50 marks in the examination from here. So the first 3 units, each of these units, what is the weightage and all? Once we go into the classes, we will discuss. But as of now, you'll remember that unit 4 is quite very important. 50 marks, 50 marks comes out of it. Okay, that means 2 20 markers and 1 10 marker comes out of it. And how much ever you kind of avoid, you can't avoid writing these 3 questions. That's how the nature of the paper will be. 5th unit, this is something about how do we group ourselves in the society. Like we say, we get a community certificate, right? We get something called as caste certificate, right? So what is this caste? What is this race? What is this gender, right? Today we discuss about homosexuality, we talk about homonormativity, we talk about heteronormativity. We kind of discuss all these things post the Supreme Court judgment. We said there has been a decriminalization of homosexual marriages, but still homosexual marriages are not legal in India. So some nations in the world, they permit it. So how does this concept of gender come in? Is transgender a simple word, or does it just have one meaning, right? We look at a person, we say this person is a transgender, but we understand it's not a transgender. There could be a transsex, there could be a cisgender, there could be multiple connotations that are involved in this. We kind of get exposed to that, fine? Then race. So we've heard in history about how there was this always discussion about black and white. Common things, if you see, when you take a chessboard and you have the black and white coins there, say the white moves first. Why does the white coin have to move first? Why not the black coin? Why does the person who has the white make the first move? What is it based out of? You start thinking, is there some symbolism associated with it? Why is it only black and white? Why can't I have red and blue color chess coins? No, ma'am. Online when we play, we'll have all that. But all the coins that I've seen, they look like this, isn't it? So we start asking a lot of questions. There are some practical applications of what we see around us. Then we talk about all these things. So these are all the words that we have under stratification. Mobility. So you would have heard people telling that, see, we send everybody to school. We have given right to education. But just because we sent a person to school, does that person get the equal opportunity? We give equal input to everyone, but everyone we give the common input, but the way the person receives the input will be different. Why? How is it different? Personally, biologically, I might be different, right? My circumstances might be different. My access to resources might be different. I might be sitting under a street light and reading. I might not have power in my house and I might be reading. I might not have internet connection all through. Sometimes we do that, no? Data pattala. Data is not enough. So I'll not do a video call. I'll do only an audio call. Why is data not enough? I did not manage my 2 GB data properly. I might have watched some serial more. So, for something important that I need in the day, I might not have, right? But then we have a limitation of these resources. So resources, how do we use them? How do people get the access for it? All this is obviously going to change. And is that person actually having a movement? This movement is not what we say as migration. This movement, what we say as mobility, is when my name comes on the list of the UPSC, in that one day, my life changes completely. I get a mobility. It's not just the mobility for me, it's a mobility for the people in my family, my friends. We find people celebrating that, isn't it? Why? Because that one moment can change people's generations' lives altogether, isn't it? That is what is mobility. It's not simply moving from one place to another. Moving from one place to another is some other kind of mobility, what we call as physical mobility. This we say as social mobility. So that is what we discuss here. Fine. Now in class, we will be going up to this as per the order. As soon as we finish this, we will go to paper 2. Okay? Because the correlative portions begin from here. In paper 2, that is in Indian sociology, which we have in paper 2, first is like we have thinkers in paper 1. Like I told you, Karl Marx, like that, there are many people. Like that in Indian sociology, we had our own people who started studying Indian society, who spoke about various things that we have here, how to look at Indian society and all that, right? So that is what we have in perspectives. There we call it as thinkers. Here we are not using the same name, we are using some other name, but it's the same concept. Impact of the colonial rule. So this is the impact of history that we have on sociology. Now you start understanding from here various subjects we are having as a mixture in sociology. So that is one of the reasons why studying it becomes very easy. I know something in GS, I know a little bit of history, I know a little bit of economics, I know a little bit of polity. All that is applied here. I can easily correlate. So here, impact of colonial rule is what we studied in history, we start looking at it from sociology. That means we discuss about tribal movements, worker movements, women movements, all these names you would have studied in history. Here, what happened because of that? Consequences of it. How did the society change because of it? We start discussing all that, okay? Then once we get an idea about what all is there in Indian sociology, then we will do this portion. What is this portion? Yeah. Fourth unit we have, and second unit that we have, caste system. What we studied as social stratification in paper 1, we have an applicative portion here called caste system. So we'll do this together. Then we will do social classes, because there also class, here also class. So we'll not study as two standalone. Paper 1 fully I'll finish. Paper 2 full. It doesn't work like that. You have to study it correlatively. Only then we can cross the 270 mark. So, ma'am, 300. 300, if it happens, it's good. Because every year, 300 might not be the case. Because this year and the previous year, if you take, 270, 280 is what the top 50 people have got. So, 1 or 2 odd people get it. That might not be the average. 300 happens when they decide to increase the mark for the optional. That is where all they're giving 12 marks, there they give 14 marks. Where all they're giving 5 marks, they decide to give 6 marks, then the 300 will happen. So what normally will be a 270 will become 300 automatically when UPSC's marking pattern changes. So first drop this. I will get 300. If they give only, you will get. Okay? What you need to do is, among people who are writing sociology from India, I should come within the top 10 percentile. So normally we have 1,600 to 1,700 students who will be writing mains with sociology, looking into the previous UPSC report. So if I come within, say, 160 people or the 170 people in India from that subject, I'll definitely get into the top 100. If I come within the top 250, I come within the first 2 or 3 choice services depending upon my category of competition. So your bandwidth is to come within the top 250 out of people who write sociology from India. That should be the way you start thinking. So that means, if you have a doubt, this subject is better or that subject is better, I think I have answered that question. Better is always what is better for you. You only have to decide. Done? Okay. So once we are done with these 2 correlative portions, then we will once again go back to paper 1. Work and economics life. Economics, whatever we study, what is the impact of that in sociology? That means, what about labor code? Today, say July 1st onwards, we have introduced something called as an industrial relations code. Labor code has changed. That means you would have heard people telling hybrid work. 4 days you work. 3 days are going to be holidays for you. But those 4 days you have to work 12 hours a day. Instead of 8 hours, 5 days, you work a little more. But you will get 3 days completely off. So some things are changing. People are working in multiple companies. So what is that? How does it impact the money of a person? COVID has told us a lot of things, isn't it? You don't work in only one company. You work in 2-3 companies. Even if they shut down one company, you'll get the money source from another. We studied about savings and its importance. So like this, those terms which are important for people, we'll have that in the 6th unit. Okay? So as and when we finish this, the portion in paper 2 we will finish. Politics and society, name itself you can understand. Whatever is the influence of polity, governance, public administration, etc. like party system, democracy, movements, protest, agitation, revolution, all this that we hear, no? Green revolution, information technology revolution, like this, some terms we keep on hearing, right? So what is the impact of that on people? 8th unit, religion. This is impact of philosophy on sociology. That means you would have again heard recently they have excavated certain things, right? They have found out that there is a shivling that was found in Yanvapi mosque. So that became a controversy. And then there was a lot of questions regarding, is there a religious polarization happening in the society? Is it something that we need to talk about, right? We have a lot of questions, isn't it? And then Supreme Court says something. Then there was something called as the hijab row. And we discussed about whether it is a woman's right to wear the hijab, or is it something which is imposing like patriarchy on her. So why should a woman clothe herself in a particular way? Does she want to be that way? Or is the society asking her to be that way? So that's the debate that we have. Like, if I want, or is somebody else asking me to do? So we discussed some term called as religious feminism. Shabarimala, entry into Shabarimala, right? So you don't let women who are in their menstruation cycle to enter into the premises. We discussed about a Sanathan Brahmachari, right? You discuss about some terms like that. The Supreme Court also came up with something like that. So what is the meaning of all these things in everyday life? How does it impact people? You take tribal societies, they have their own gods. If you take non-tribal societies, they have their own gods. Religions are so complex. And more you say, no, I won't talk about religion. Not talking about religion itself is talking, isn't it? That I don't have an opinion is itself an opinion. That's how we are. Right? Hey, don't ask me about that when you say. That means what? You don't want to tell. That means you have some opinion. That opinion is don't ask me. Isn't it? So, what is the impact like that, right? And then the 9th unit, this is about family. How is the family system changing? Because today we talk about live-in relationships. We discuss about patchwork families. Patchwork families means what? Say, for example, there is a married man and his children, and he takes a divorce. There is another married woman. She's also taking a divorce, and then they remarry, and then there's a new family which is like all brought together. It's like literally a patch up that you have created. So now there is a new family with people who do not have blood relation as mother and father, but literally you call the other person as a mother. So you talk about social father, biological father. We have a lot of concepts like this. Similarly with surrogacy, with IVF, like a lot of things have changed because the way we look at family, the way we look at children, all this has actually changed, right? So that all is what we have in the 9th unit. And like from the 6th unit, we will be doing it together only. What is here in paper 1, we'll finish. Immediately we'll do. So world, what we do, we say, in India, how it is. Like that. We'll be going correlative. And the last unit that we have is social change. So how does education change the society? How does technology change the society? So you talk about, say, recently you would have heard that wheat exports were banned. You would have heard about Southeast Asian nations saying that we will not let palm oil export. Similarly, some terms like this, like some countries saying, no, we will import this. Some countries saying, why do they talk about all this? We live in a globalized world. We trade in a basket of currencies. So we are dependent on the other person, other country. For example, our COVID vaccines, when we developed, the first time we developed the vaccine, we took the formula and we customized it for us, isn't it? So we are dependent on some other group of nations as such, and some other nations are dependent on us. So we study about dependency concept, right? So that is what we have in the 10 units. So this is what is there in the portions. So one part of it is theoretical. One part of it is completely correlative and practical. What you see around you is what you will be studying here, right? Exclusively, there are some units in paper 2. That is this tribal communities in India. So this is studied in detail in anthropology. In sociology, it is a small unit. Anthropology, it's like a little bigger. Tribal societies are studied in detail. For us, it's only about tribal policy, something unique about the ways tribe people integrate with the non-tribal part. Like that, cultural changes, whatever is happening. But it is also quite an important unit. We study it here separately. Rest all is... Then this portion, rural and agrarian transformation of India. This is very unique to Indian sociology alone. We have something like what are the land reforms that we have done. then green revolution, rural development programs, poverty alleviation programs. Are they successful or not? If they failed, what did we learn from those failures? Like that, we have a unit. And this one, population dynamics. Population dynamics, again, it's pretty unique because we study completely about Indian population alone. We don't have this in the world perspective. So some units are exclusive for paper 1, like 4 units are exclusive for paper 1. Some 4 or 5 units are exclusive for paper 2. Rest is all correlative. That's how it is. Okay. Now, if in case you need to choose sociology, what are the things that is must? Okay. First is syllabus itself is like from scratch only. You don't have a background, still you can make something out of it. So it is like from the beginning, it will be started and it will take you to the level what it is needed. Okay. Obviously, there's a very high clearance rate from sociology because normally when we take any optional subject, this one subject, it is like whoever goes, not everyone will pass, not everyone will fail. One standard percentage will keep on clearing. So it varies between 16 and 19%. But it is always like that. You will never have a time where whoever writes mains passes and whoever writes main fails. That never happens. So it's something like which is very, what do you say, fail-safe bargain that you do, right? Okay, you put in well, you do good, you will get. It is like that. Limited syllabus. If you are only preparing sociology, 3 months is enough. If you're going to prepare sociology with something else, then obviously you'll need to take 5 to 6 months to prepare. Only that is with GS when you're preparing. To get the background about it, it will take you 6 months. It will take double the time. Okay, this is something which might interest a group of people. If you want, you can repeat what is there in whatever material you're reading. If you can. If you can't, you write the concept in your own words without changing the meaning. Then it is still okay. Fine? So the keywords are important. But the way you understand it, you can write it in your own words. Why? Because if you take India, many of the people would have written sociology in English and also in the regional languages. So obviously literature is available in multiple regional languages. So you are going to write it in a medium that you choose. So obviously there is going to be some interpretation things that we are going to do. And if you take world scholars, they would have written in French and German, and many thinkers would have translated them onto English. We are taking from the English sources and then we are reading. Those thinkers are not alive. If they are alive, then maybe they'll say, oh no, I didn't say that, right? Okay. Reference books readily available and textbooks. Textbooks. So there are very few textbooks that you have to read. We'll talk about that. And of course, you get the material. You get 3 books totally. Like I've revised it just before I went in for the break. So it is like 2 books for paper 1 and 1 book for paper 2. So it's like from all the important sources that we have, you just put it together and it's like you read something standard and you consolidate it with your textbook with the class notes that you're making. It is more than enough for you to get a very, very decent score, provided you apply that onto your paper when you're writing. Reading alone is not enough, isn't it? You need to translate it onto paper so that another person is able to get that you have understood the concept. And syllabus, I'll cover everything. Like whatever is there in the syllabus, every single word, every single unit will be covered for you. You don't need to worry about that. Nothing will be just left off, right? Now come to the challenges. If you are a person who writes broken language, like some people have this point of writing hanging points. I tell you what is this hanging point. I didn't come today. That's a full sentence, right? So if you're making hints out of this, you will simply write 2 to 3 words out of it. Now you take a complete sentence. India did not respond to a gesture which was made by China on the border. Like you would have heard that Indian army is recruiting Mandarin speaking personnel to train our army personnel. You would have read, no? Yesterday's paper, it was there. So we are not alienating ourselves from understanding what Mandarin is. We understand that if you want to work in the border, especially a sensitive area, we need to have some idea about what the Chinese culture is. Tibet is a very unique part. China is another unique part. And China is also not very, it's as diverse as we have here in India. So I need to have some understanding if I speak that particular language, isn't it? So when I want to tell this, I need to tell it in a sentence. So you should have this thing of writing it in sentences. Simple language, simple sentences are enough. But if you just write keywords and leave it point, 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 it doesn't work. You have to write it in a sentence. So how do I understand whether I get this sentence writing? Take the 12th standard sociology NCERT. You take sociology, don't take sociology, still everybody has to study it for GS1. Okay? You take that, you see if you can understand that language, see if you can replicate that NCERT language. If you can do that, that is enough. Ability to write in that kind of a language. And obviously, in many parts that we have in southern India, our exposure to science and our exposure to science-based subjects is pretty higher. But if you take in the northern part of India and the northeastern part of India and the eastern part of India, there the exposure is there for humanities. People take up a lot of humanities subjects. So down here in the south, this exposure is little tilted. It's a little different. So there's always this fear factor. I haven't studied about these things in school. Will I be able to pick up? Right? That factor is there. That's because you don't know. To know it, just go through the NCERT. You can easily get it. Okay? 2 NCERTs are there for 12th standard. Just go to the e-Pathshala, download it from there, and you read it online itself. Or if you have the textbook, take the hard copy of the textbook and just go through it. That is enough. That level is enough. Okay? Fine. Alright. So, what do you get when you take up the classes? So, first, syllabus I've already talked to you about. Second is, you'll get a step-by-step assistance in your preparation. That means, we have classes. Classes we will be having on weekdays. Okay? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Friday. Up to September, we will be going 4 days a week. Thursdays alone, I'll be going to your senior batch for their mains test discussion. So, I won't be able to come to your class. So 4 days we'll be doing. Once your seniors complete their mains examination, that is by September end, they will be finishing. They are starting on September 16th. October onwards, you will have 5 days regularly, weekdays. Weekends, I will not call you. You can plan your reading on the weekends. Fine. If in case there needs to be something extra to be done or whatever, I'll try to manage it little bit before, little bit after during those days only. If in case I want to ask you something extra, I'll give you just at least 1 week before itself, I'll tell you so that you can rework or replan. Accordingly, you can take it up. Okay. So sometimes if the mains is reflecting some new trend, I might want some extra classes to complete that trend. So for that, for safety's sake, I'm telling you that I might, but I will not call you on all days and all that. I'll finish it within the limited time. And next is like say every 2 units that you finish, then you'll be writing class test. So class test will be like, obviously on Thursdays I will keep it because that day anyway you don't have class. So you can get engaged in the test. And for whatever unit is completed, say 10 days time will be given for you to read and then you will be writing the class test. Okay. So obviously we are starting on July 18th. Maybe by August mid, we will be starting with the test. Whatever we are covering in the class, based on that previously it will be told to you and then we will be having the test. Okay. So after you complete the test, tests will all be for 1 hour. Initially, I'll be training 1 hour, making you to write 4 questions. Then I'll take you to 5 questions. Then I'll take you to 6 questions. Then I'll take you to 7 questions. Because we need to complete 6 to 7 questions in 1 hour because 19 questions we have to write in sociology. And I can't create this magic in, few months. I need a year's time with you and then only I can create that kind of a result. Okay. So we will do it in a constant manner. And once you finish the class test papers will be evaluated. There will be 2 mentors for you. Those mentors will be service candidates, my previous batch students. They will be the interview students, but who have cleared either cleared the interview or who have gone to the interview stage and who have got very good marks in the optional. So 3 of us, me and my students, we will be shuttling the papers within us and we will be giving you the feedback. So once you write the test, then you will be asked to fix up a time for the feedback and then the feedback will be given to you. Feedback will be one-on-one. It is personally what you write. Based on that only the feedback will be given to you. Okay. And we'll be monitoring your progress. Like you might have a problem in language. Another person might have a problem in concept understanding. Another person might have a problem in like translating that concept onto the paper. So each person's problem will be different. So you can't have a customized thing. I mean, you can't have one thing, one custom package for everyone, right? So you need to make it like little different for every single person. So that will be done for you. So we will complete the classes by maximum December 1st week, we will complete. After that also you will be continuing to write the test. So we will ideally finish 5 tests during the time of the classes, and after that you will be writing a series of tests. These tests will go on till March. May 28th is your exam. So ideally you come once in 14 days after the classes get over to write the test, and then this process will keep going on. So idea is one full round of optional you will complete before you go for your preliminary, and you will have 2 months time solid to sit and read. Obviously you might need 4 months time to prepare for prelim, but optional little bit you need to keep writing practice. So for that sake you will be coming say once in twice a month like that to write the optional test. All right. So this is what is the mains writing practice. So this comes as a part of your training for the optional. We'll finish off all the class tests by the time we come to maximum by March. Clear? Then yeah, these are the parameters which UPSC looks in. So these parameters help you to score better. So evaluations will also be done on the same way. Starting initially it will be done with content, relevance and all that, and then slowly that innovation and all those factors will be brought in. So first step will be to build the content, and then to give sensible answers for the given question in the given time. Then rest of the things you have to work on. You have to do some self-practice also, and that you should perhaps do it after your preliminary examination. Okay? And yeah, so, right? Now myths, some myths are there, isn't it? Always in student community, we keep discussing this. This optional is better than that optional. This optional got this rank, and so yes, ranks are important. We are writing it for a competitive exam. But then every optional has its own way of having its own results, okay? It's about the student's ability to perform in that optional. That's the only thing that you need to keep in your mind. And that's how you have in the second point. All right. Now, in case you decide to choose sociology, what are the other things that you come with it automatically? One is in GS paper 1, you have close to 85 marks. This subject is not there for your preliminary examination. It is only a mains and interview thing that you have. Every optional that you take, it will be covered in 2 phases of the examination. Either some objects are there in prelim and main. Some objects are there in main and interview. This optional is there for main and interview. It is important for that. So GS1 you are having close to, they are asking 6 questions. One question which is like along with post-independence history, which has a little bit of sociology connection. So you can say minimum 85 marks comes out of this. Essay writing, 8 topics that they give, 2 topics, 1 in each section they come with sociology only. So if you have some content that you have built from this, you can easily use that for the essay as well. One thing that we do is, here we'll say this thinker said it, another thinker said that. We'll drop the thinker's name and we'll just write what the thinker said. That's how we convert our optional to the essay. Okay? Why? Some terms, some names, it might be familiar to only that group of people. General studies means it should be understood by everyone. The evaluator might not be from sociology background. And there if you go and dump all the words there, you will literally kind of not impress the examiner, right? When you don't speak a common language. So that common language is write sentences but drop the thinkers' names. That's all. Interviews, yeah. In interview, every single person, we get questions regarding our own district, regarding our state, regarding some national issues. Ideally, we get in the 5-member board, at least 4 to 5 questions come based on social problems. Sometimes we even get hypothetical situations. They ask us to take a stand. They ask us to tell what will you do in this situation. They ask us questions like that. Case studies also we get, no? In GS paper 4, 6 questions come from case studies. At least 2 case studies are sociology based. They are society based. You can easily make your course of action out of this. And state services examination, if you take many states, leave Kerala and Tamil Nadu, most of the states, they have sociology as their optional paper. It's similar to what you have in UPSC. Now, ma'am, I don't belong to that state. Can I write the state examination? Obviously, anybody can write any state level examination, provided you compete in general category. You cannot compete in, so a community might be an OBC in that state. That community might not be an OBC in another state. So I can go and write Uttarakhand Public Service Commission if I am going to compete in general category. I can't claim an OBC reservation when I go in there. But yes, I can do. Is it mandatory to know Hindi to go and write there? Some states, they have language compulsory. But majority of the states, now what they do is, after you get selected in that state's group 1, then within 2 years, like how you have in this UPSC, same way, within 2 years, you study the state language. That is enough. You just pass those examinations, you can take up, you finish your probation and you take up service. So, many state services examination, for example, Karnataka Public Service Commission, West Bengal Public Service Commission, UP Public Service Commission, they all have sociology as an optional subject. So, you obviously have the scope wider. You can attempt for group 1 also there. And these days, after a couple of attempts, we always look for backup, right? We kind of want to be very grounded and very practical. So I prepare for the main examination, but sometimes what happens is my prelim itself might be a roadblock for some time, and my family situation might be in such a way that after a point of time, I can't just keep pursuing only UPSC. For some, it might be like that. For some people, it is very easy. Like first itself or second attempt, you are like clearing. In one shot, you clear the prelim, you start getting the hope. But sometimes that gets delayed for people. Like I want to tell 2 people whom I know personally. One was a senior of mine. He is Mr. Saravanan. He is kind of placed in Rajasthan right now in the IAS cadre. So he took 6 attempts to clear prelims, and when he cleared prelims, he was in IAS. Okay. Similarly, there is another person whom I know. Her name is Nikita Boga. She is right now in Forest Services, Telangana. She got in Civil Services also in IRS. So for her, for 3 attempts, prelims was only tough. The moment she cleared prelims, civils also came, forest also came. So sometimes prelims is a gamble, you know. You just come points somewhere nearby. That doesn't determine you or your, merit as a person. So ma'am, is that okay? It's not always okay, but sometimes you know that you've tried, but somewhere that misfortune comes in, right? So in case there is some kind of a stagnation, then obviously look for something which keeps us with UPSC, and we can continue with our preparation like that. If I'm going for some kind of a backup option, we do have a lot of backup options as well. That is, recently from last year, GATE Sociology has come up. That means I can take up masters even if I do not have a background. I am having some other background. I clear the GATE of Sociology. I can take up in IITs. I can take up post-graduation in Sociology, and I can build my career in that itself. Once I complete my PG, then I might get some jobs related to that, some research work related to that. That's possible. Similarly, there is another scope that as in when we give GRE or GMAT. With GRE or GMAT also we can get into IIT's direct PhD. If we have an undergrad, 4-year undergrad, it's possible. So like that, there are many opportunities that are available today when you are going to take up for or going for some kind of an alternative. And another thing that you will remember is in State Services Commission also, in the general studies papers, sociology is included like we have in GS1. Like there also, social issues are a part of it. So it is like comprehensive coverage. Only thing, format will be different. Here we will be concentrating on explanation of points. There, State Services will be tending to write many points within the given time. The approach might be different compared to what we write here, but the content, what we make here, it will be useful. And of course, there are some post-graduation options that we have. So some students, they took up the post-graduation option. Like for example, Atul Kulkarni, he's placed in IPS Maharashtra right now. So he did Tata Institute of Social Sciences Urban Studies. And after he completed urban studies, he got selected. So he had to take a break for 2 years, and then he was parallelly preparing, and then he got in. So he was consulting with Nashik Corporation, Nashik Municipality, and then he got selected into the UPSC. Similarly, there is a person called Anu Senapati. She is from Kerala. She is in IAS Tamil Nadu cadre. She got 42nd rank. So she was pursuing her post-graduation, and then she had registered for her first year PhD. That was the time when she cracked the examination and she got it. So for her, it took a little more than 3 years. So she started doing this and she still got selected. So it's not that you just leave your hope. So why I'm telling you all these things is, generally people don't tell these things. And we start losing hope in between, right? So first, we'll always try to attempt, whichever attempt we give the first mains, we have to go into the final list. That should be our way of, we never prepare for prelims. We should always prepare to get into the final list. That should be the way. Prelims, first let me pass prelims, then let me start. What is the use? Can you put anywhere I passed prelims as a degree? Nowadays, you can't even tell people also. You cleared 13,000 people are clearing prelims. What is the big deal, yeah? Yes or no? That's how it is. And now with name also they are putting the prelims list. So you simply can't tell people I cleared but I didn't go to the mains. I mean, I cleared prelims but mains only was a problem. Everybody will find out whether you actually cleared prelims or not. Means you actually have to pass. Previously, we used to have some people, right? Or what happens is like 2 to 3 years it becomes, and then parental pressure starts. Come back. Enough of studying, right? So then, no, I've cleared one level. Give me some more time. Give me some more time to tell, first level I have cleared. Next level, let me go. Now you have to show proof for everything, isn't it? So let's proceed in that direction of actually getting into the list. Fine. Okay, so these are the people. Of course, last year I did not take classes, but I had some 8 students from the previous batches who had cleared. One such person was Pratik Mantri. This year he had scored 280 marks. 2020 he was there, but last year because I was on a break, I just corrected a few papers of his, but I can only show you 2020 from that time. Last year I can't show you because I have not done work last year. So Meera, Jubin, they all had wonderful marks. So this is the highest that I have come till now. All India ranked 6th. So before that, I've not had any student, and I hope one of you sitting here will be that, who will take me to that AIR1. Okay, because with every success that you get, I'm also getting one step closer to my dream. So these are the people. They're anyway available in Shankar's website. So roughly 27, and then the previous year there were 27 people. Then there were, before that there were 24 people. So we've had kind of very good results out of the people who have. So Neha is from IML. So she was actually writing the exam for quite a while before she actually made it. Aishwarya, first attempt itself she got in, and she got into IRAS, and then she migrated to IAS. So there are lots of people, you can find them on the website itself. Out of this, I think, Malavika is writing this year. You can see the names. Shaktivel is also writing. Sameer is also writing. Yeah, so these are all the people. I can just show you your seniors who have made it into the list. Obviously, each of these people are an inspiration. So this is what I have for you. These are all in the book that you get. All these names will be there. And whenever we look into that, Mera number, my number is going to be the next, right? That's how we think. This was my first batch, my 2013 batch, the first ever batch that I do. This is where, from the class batch, 33 students were there in that batch, and out of that, these 4 got into service. So that is when I decided that, okay, it was not that I didn't study, that I didn't make it. So maybe there was something else. So that was the thing, because missing out in the list was by 2 marks for me. So it was kind of very difficult to accept. You start entering into a self-questioning mode, right? What have you actually gone wrong with? But then when these people cleared, then you know that, okay, so you are in safe hands, don't worry about it. I'll do everything possible from my side to help you out. Done? Okay, so now it's for your questions. Yeah, about your classes, right? 5:30 we'll start. 5:30, you have to be in the class. Okay? Obviously, if I am going to be late on some day, I'll inform to you, which rarely happens. I try to be on time as much as possible, because sometimes there will be some, weather issues, there might be some network issues, whatever be the case, but it will be informed to you. We'll never delay classes. We'll start on time. And 5:30 when we start, initially 5 to 10 minutes, we'll be just going through what we've studied the previous day. Like, we'll just have an overview, like these topics. I'll not be doing it in detail. These topics we have covered. Then we'll go to that particular day's portion. We'll do 1/2 of that till, say, 6:50, 7 o'clock. Within that time, you'll get a break. You'll have a maximum 5 to 10 minute break. And then we'll be continuing with the next topic up to 8 o'clock. This will be the plan. So normally, the way that we'll do it is 5:30 if I start till 5:40, 6:45, 6:50 when we do the topic. After we finish that, all the questions that you have, I'll handle offline or online. We'll have it, because in between the class, I might not be able to take your questions. Finish one topic, then take your questions. Finish the next topic, and then take your questions. And beyond 8, it is a little difficult for me to stay. So maximum, I might need time to say 8:05, 8:10. After that, I'll not be sticking on here. If there are any pending queries, then I'll come the previous little earlier the next day and handle your queries. And obviously, we are going to have, I'll give you my mail ID. We'll have the Telegram group. Personally, we are available here. Mentors will be available. So don't worry about it. As much as possible, try to absorb maximum in the class. And I will not dictate any notes in the class. Okay? You will have to make running notes, but this will be the pace of my speech. Printed material will be given to you. So extra, whatever you need, it will be given to you. Whatever we are discussing in the class, you make proper notes out of it. As and when there is some topic which is actually very difficult for you to create, there may be to show you how to handle answer writing, that we will be doing. So I'll tell you what will be the class plan. So we complete a line of the syllabus. Then based on that line, how the previous year they have asked the questions, how to structure answers for that. So I'll first orient you, handhold you in the class how to do your introductions, how should be your paragraphs. I'll show you some demo papers from how they have written those answers. And then as and when you start writing, obviously that will come to you. So little bit of handholding will be done initially so that you get into the groove and then you proceed. Okay. And we'll have English as the medium of instruction inside the classroom. Outside the classroom, if you and I speak a common language, you can definitely ask. Maybe 2 to 3 languages I might know, or I might put you on to someone who can speak that language. But primary mode of instruction would be English, because we have students from various parts of India inside the class. Okay. And when we go for UPSC, obviously, we also need to escalate ourselves to what is a common language. And for us now, English is a common language. So we are going with English. Okay. It will be kind of similar to this only, like that break time that I told you, no, that will be the time for the offline as well as the online. And for the online candidates, anyway, like the paper evaluation, like students who are here, they'll be doing it, they'll be coming and they'll be getting the papers. For the students who are online, you scan the papers and you mail it, and then based on the scanned paper, a telephonic feedback or a Zoom feedback will be given to you. So I think process is the same. But I would definitely want you like, at least once in a while to visit, maybe monthly once or something. If you can visit any center, I keep fleeting to all the centers. So wherever the center, Shankar Center is there, I'll be available at a stipulated. I'll inform to you whichever is the nearest place. That would be the case. Sir, regarding the logistics, I think you'll have to talk, but I'll tell you my understanding. Normally, if there is a particular portion that is taught, they have a stipulated period of time for the online candidates alone, where they might have a portal through which the video is given. The logistics regarding the videos of the classes, you'll have to discuss it with the optional coordinator. But yes, it is available, but it seems it's like of a stipulated duration of which I'm not aware right now. I know it on 18th of July only, because they have to freeze the vendor through which they are going to give this. Normally, when a student is online, we ask the student to post the questions on the chat box, and the chat box will be visible to me. And I'll take up the questions from the chat box. Whatever is not repeated in the offline class, some extra question is asked, I'll deal it after that. So switching on the audio or the video might take a longer period of time. So we use the chat box for that, but seeing you, I'll be seeing you from here. But asking the question, if you switch on and off, then it might take a longer time. So we take the questions, pile up the questions together, and common questions, I just take it up from the thing. So that I'll do it at 2 intervals, one the break time and one at the end of the class. So the books will be given to you 2 weeks after you begin classes, and books it'll all be given to you at a stretch. So first, I think they'll give you paper 1, unit 1 to 5, which I'll be dealing first, and then they'll be giving you the rest of the books. So normally it will be done in, I think, 2 times they will be giving you. Totally 3 books given to you at 2 different points of time. So once they get an idea of how many people are there in a batch, then they give it for printing. So printing time will normally take 7 days. So it will be that time that they will be taking to give. So once you come to class, right, during the first day of the class hours, I'll be talking to you in detail about whatever we studied. I'll be orienting you like each topic, what is the mark weightage, what are the reference books, etc. We'll be discussing. Because now we have a group of people who might not even want to take up sociology. So that thing might not be relevant for them. So for a relevant audience, we will discuss that separately. So I'll be talking to you about reference books, everything. Okay, reference books. Paper 1, we will go with just 1 book, and paper 2, we will go with 2 books. That is only reading, extra reading, but it is not like university wherein everything in the reference book will get repeated. That's why the printed notes is given to you. It doesn't work like the university wherein from 5 units, this book exactly, it doesn't work like that. So maximum what is getting covered, like paper 1, we have a book called Harry Lumbos, we use it. In that Harry Lumbos also, it is not a language which you can't understand. It's a simple followable kind of language only. Paper 2, we go with Indian authors. But paper 2, that is the difficulty. Every line is a book. Every line in the syllabus is a book. And we are going to write maximum 4 pages. So sitting and reading one entire book to write 4 pages doesn't make sense. No? So we'll do that off in class, and extra whatever you need, we'll collate it and give it to you. And see, there are certain things like current affairs which will be important, right? So as and when we do that topics, we'll be integrating the current affairs. Like in today's orientation session, I was talking to you about 2-3 concepts, no? Like that, whatever is important for that topic, we'll be dealing, examples and all, we'll be dealing it, right? And magazines, we follow some magazines, but synopsis of those magazines, I'll be giving it to you. I'm integrating that and giving it to you in the book itself. Other than that, what is happening from this July, that we will be doing in class. So you'll have something with you solid. Apart from that, you pick it up from the class. Okay? So you asked about reference books. Class PPTs, whatever I use in class, I'll be giving it to you. In optional, if I use a PPT, you don't need to make notes of what is there in the PPT. I will put it to you in the Telegram group itself. What you will make class notes is based on that. So obviously, if tomorrow I'm going to do some topic, 1 week before itself, I'll give you the PPT. So in the class, The interpretation from the PPT is what you will be doing. You will not be making notes from the PPT. I'll give everything to you. There's nothing which I'll have which I'll not give it to you. Whatever I do in class, I'll give it to you. So don't need to worry about it. Giving it to you will be done through the group. Telegram group, we'll be using that. The same format of the question paper, what is given in the offline, the booklet which is given in offline, we'll be doing it in white sheets with that UPSC boundary. The same thing will be given, that question paper will be posted on the group as well. So students will be taking the question paper from the group, and they, like the offline students, write it on hard copy. The online students also parallelly you will be doing it at that time. Normally I will give a window period because sometimes I have the test, but students might fall sick or they might be working, they might have college. So I give a 3-day window period for people to complete the test. Because we have to keep that human element always. It's exactly not rigid as the UPSC that you don't go for an exam and so your candidature itself is not, it's not like that. So our objective is to learn. So you finish the paper, scan it, and then you send it to a stipulated mail ID which will be shared with you, and we will take the papers from that and we'll evaluate it and call you for the feedback. That's how it will be done. Okay, the class timing is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, 5:30 to 8 p.m. After September, it will be Monday to Friday, 5:30 to 8 p.m. If in case there is a need for something extra, it will be informed 2 weeks prior or maximum 1 week prior. So regular, this will be the time that we are having. It is the same mentor who will be dealing with the offline as well as the online. The slots alone will be different. That's all. Yes, you have to study. Because even if a student has eidetic memory is like Chitti Robo. You see once everything comes to you. Some people are like that. They have photographic memory. Whatever they see, everything you can get. Some people pass university exams only because of that, right? So even if you have a memory like that, the nature of questions, whether it is general studies or essay or optional, has a little bit of application. So you need to tune yourself to think. That means apart from the class hours, you definitely need to spend sizable amount of time. That means I think you'll need, it depends upon every student's reading and comprehensive capacity. But to complete whatever portions that is taught in the class during the weekends is something which is mandatory. Otherwise, it will just pile up in the end. Easiest way is, before every class test, if you start preparing, portions will just get completed automatically. So you keep your thinking like, for every test, I will study and write the test. That way, it makes it very simple. Yes, you have to spend other than class hours to study. It is needed. It is needed for everything in UPSC. See, the class test program will take you in line with what is needed for the exam. And after you finish this one round, then next year there will be some mains test series. But that is not paid with this. You will have to enroll separately for it. But this itself is adequate for you to cover it. Because the mentorship and what you get, if you do that itself, it is automatically helping you to enter more. And obviously, we are not going to tell you don't bring answers. Other than whatever is there, we are here to help you. So you write and bring. We will evaluate and give it to you. Whatever help you need, you ask. We will do it and give. But structuredly, this is what I am offering. This I can do, I will definitely do. Extra, whatever you want from your side, you have to tell your need. So for students who have already opted for the subject, until I come to take your classes next week, first you start going through Unit 1, that is 11th Standard NCERT. There is something called as Emergence of Sociology. So this emergence of sociology is the first unit that we have. You go through this in the 11th standard, first NCERT. Okay. So 4 books of NCERT are there. 11th standard there are 2 books and 12th standard there are 2 books. 11th standard books are for paper 1 and 12th standard books are for paper 2. Okay. So that's why those who want to decide on sociology, I asked you to read this because this topic is common for GS1 also. Okay. But those who have decided, you first start with 11th standard. In that, if you take the index. Now remember, whenever you read NCERT for the UPSC exam, you don't need to read complete NCERT like that. Okay. Just take the topic, see the index page, whether that line is there in the syllabus. Only that you do. Don't do book by book. It is of no use. Go unit by unit, topic by topic, whatever you're reading, go like that. Okay. So you go for 11th standard NCERT where you will find something like Introduction to Sociology, like that will be there. And another parallel reading that you can do is download BA IGNOU Sociology material. It's a freely downloadable PDF. Okay. Five PDFs will be there. It will be readily available. You download that. In that PDF, the same topic will be there. That you go through. Line by line in IGNOU, they would have covered. Okay. Simple language you will be getting. Similarly, in YouTube, there is a video on Industrial Revolution. It will be a 24-minute video which gives you a complete understanding of Industrial Revolution. Twenty-four something, okay, I'm not able to exactly recollect, and it will be like in black and white with all pictures. It will show you exactly what happened. It's a very nice movie kind of thing which tells you about Industrial Revolution. It has a lot of correlation to history also. You read that, it will commonly cover that, and it will also cover a sizable 20 marker that you have in our optional also. So you watch this in this meantime. So to read this and to go through this, I think ideally 1 week time, pakka you'll have for it. Many materials will be there. Just go with whatever is similar to what line you have in the first unit in the syllabus. Do that work. Start with that if you're doing the work this 1 week. Okay. Can you switch offline to online? I think there will be some process to do that, which means if you want to migrate from one thing to another, you will have to approach the HR department, and logistics should be done through the optional coordinator. It will be possible, but they will have some formality or some kind of payment for it. Reason is, when a student joins online, they buy the space accordingly. So if there is a migration, then they will need to increase the license that they have for it. So accordingly, they will have to plan. So they might have to, any transition like that, they might take. But yes, it is possible. On social media, my account is this. That is, I think in Telegram, it is with an underscore. And any other space that you are using, I'm only regular with Telegram. Okay. FB, Insta and all that, I'm only once in a while. But yes, I'm pretty active on everything. But Insta, I'm really bad. But yes, I do check at least once a day. That I check. But if you're going to ask academic queries, it's better that you please come to my Telegram or to this. Other than academics, you have nothing to ask me, right? That is, you will have to make running notes as and when I do the topics in the class. That will be the mode. There will not be dictation. Dictation, like say for definitions, I might dictate certain things, like certain things which I want you to replicate exactly. That I will be telling it to you. But other than that, like each and every point dictation, I will not be doing. Okay. Done? I think we have taken up all the questions. If in case you have anything else, please reach out. All right? Thank you for your time. We'll catch up on 18th of July, Monday, 5:30 p.m. Thank you.